Imagine saving every single dollar for 5 long years just to buy the home your family has lived in, only for a pack of greedy heirs to snatch it away right before your eyes. But what happens when the people you try to rob outsmart you in the most humiliating way possible? Because this time greed didn't win. Karma did. If you've ever dreamed of watching justice serve itself, especially when rich, selfish people get what's coming, hit that like button and get ready. Because this is one of the most gloriously satisfying revenge stories you'll hear all week. 15 years ago, my best friend and her husband lived in one of the most expensive cities in the country. They had 5 kids, a rundown 4-bedroom house, and a dream to one day call that house their own. It wasn't much to look at. The kitchen smelled like old grease, the wallpaper peeled off in corners, and the drains constantly reeked. But it was home. Their landlady was a sweet old woman, kind, soft-spoken, and believe it or not, extremely wealthy. She didn't need the rent money. She rented because she liked helping families. She'd grown fond of my friend's family and had frozen their rent for 5 whole years. One day, she said something that changed everything. When you've saved enough, the house will be yours. I promise. And that's exactly what they did. For 5 long years, they saved every cent, every skipped vacation, every extra shift, every dollar counted. When they finally had enough, they went to her with smiles and tears in their eyes. But just 2 days later, she passed away. With her gone, the house, along with dozens of others, went to her 4 children. Each one rich, each one cold, each one greedy. At first, they acted nice. They told my friends not to worry. "We'll honor Mom's promise," they said. "Just wait for the estate to go through probate." So, my friends waited. They even started repainting, stripping wallpaper, fixing up the place. They believed in good faith. Months later, probate finally cleared, and the heirs agreed to sell the home for the old lady's original price. Relieved, my friends applied for their loan. Then came the shock. The bank rejected them. Why? Because the kind new owners had secretly raised the asking price by $80,000. And to make matters worse, the house was going on the market in just 7 days. 7 days to come up with more money than they could possibly get. 7 days before another buyer could walk in and take the only home their kids had ever known. I remember my friend's voice on the phone that night, broken, shaky, terrified. They couldn't afford higher rent. The market had exploded. If they lost this house, they'd lose everything. And that's when I snapped. Tea wasn't just unfair, it was disgusting. These people were millionaires. They didn't need the extra money. They were squeezing a struggling family just because they could. And that's when I said to myself, if they're going to play dirty, we'll play smarter. I didn't have much money, but I had something better, creativity, friends, and a healthy dose of righteous anger. So while my friends scrambled to delay the sale, I started plotting. The goal was simple: make the house look completely undesirable to every potential buyer, without ever making my friends look like bad tenants. I started researching what real estate agents hate: bad smells, clutter, noise, neighbors that scare buyers away. We were going to hit all 3. Real estate agents love clean, open rooms. So we did the opposite. We dragged every piece of furniture away from the walls, filled every corner with boxes, random ornaments, and my favorite touch, motorcycle memorabilia plastered all over the walls. The house suddenly felt smaller, darker, and cluttered, a nightmare for open house photography. This part was pure evil genius. On the morning of the open house, my friend boiled an entire head of cabbage for hours. The stench was eye-watering. Then we sprayed ammonia around the front and back doors, the kind of smell that makes you think every stray cat in the neighborhood has marked their territory. For the grand finale, we cracked 24 rotten eggs and poured them down the drains. The house smelled like a sewer from hell. We got permission from the neighbor across the street to dump an old, moldy couch in their front yard, just for that day. It looked like a junkyard scene. Then I called in favors. Every friend with a loud, crappy car, especially the ones with mufflers that rattled, was asked to drive around the block a few times during the open house. By noon, the street looked like rush hour at a drag strip. And just when you thought it couldn't get better, our rugby buddies, huge, tattooed men with hearts of gold, showed up in their roughest biker gear. The neighbor fired up a barbecue. We handed out cheap beer, and soon there was a full-on block party right next door. Music, laughter, engines revving, smoke in the air. To us, it was community. To potential buyers, it was chaos. When the real estate agent arrived, her face said it all. She took one step inside and nearly gagged. Within minutes, potential buyers were walking in, sniffing the air, and walking right back out. One woman sat in her car, looked at the party across the street, and drove off. Only one brave guy lasted more than a few minutes. He asked a neighbor about the area, who cheerfully told him, "Oh yeah, these BBQs happen every couple weeks. Fun crowd. Oh, and the drains? They're always clogging up. Smells like a sewer sometimes." The man's smile vanished. He turned around and left. By the end of the day, not a single offer had been made, except one. My friend's offer. The greedy heirs had no choice. Legally, they couldn't raise the price again or sell to anyone else. So my friend signed the papers, paid their deposit, and finally, bought the home they'd waited years for. A few days later, a brave buyer tried to come in with an offer $30,000 higher, but it was too late. Anti-gazumping laws sealed the deal. I still smile thinking about those heirs opening that letter, realizing they'd been outsmarted by the very people they tried to cheat. Justice doesn't always come with handcuffs. Sometimes it comes wrapped in cabbage and rotten eggs. Greed has a funny way of blinding people. The richer they are, the more they think they can take, until someone reminds them that decency is worth more than money. In this case, karma smelled absolutely terrible, and it was glorious. If that story made you grin, hit that like button. It helps more than you think. Tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying act of karma you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe, because every week we bring you more stories where justice always finds its way.